Hey guys, welcome to the Trophy Life podcast. I'm your host, Tara Smith. From beauty to wellness, wife life, motherhood, and everything feminine in between, the Trophy Life podcast is a place where you can feel inspired and empowered and ultimately create the life that you desire and deserve. It's hot to romanticize your life, so grab a mocktail or your favorite cozy beverage and let's get into it. Welcome to today's episode. Obviously, exciting update is that the podcast is now being exclusively streamed on Twitch and YouTube before it goes on to like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that whole thing, which is really exciting. And we'll do like a little bit of chatting in the beginning before I start filming each episode. So that'll happen pre-filming the episodes if you want to come join in on the live action. If not, then you can obviously just listen wherever you're listening to. Pregnancy wise, feeling very good in pregnancy. I am 28 weeks pregnant, which is crazy because I feel like once you hit 30 weeks, you're like, I feel like for me that will hit me where I'm like, whoa, like I am literally like 10 weeks, give or take, to giving birth, which is crazy. And I don't know, I'm just really excited. I've honestly loved being pregnant and it's been a very fun process. And I'm also really excited to meet the little guy that's constantly like kicking me and just all the things. I don't really have any pregnancy cravings. I talked about that, I think, in a previous episode, which has been very interesting because I feel like most women, or you always hear like, oh, I have these crazy pregnancy cravings. And I'm like, no, literally. I mean, like, I guess I crave like steak a lot, but that's about it. Like, I just want protein. Steak, chicken, salmon, stuff like that. Sourdough bread. Like, I loved all those foods way before I was pregnant, so there's nothing crazy. I also did chop my hair off because I just wanted like a fresh start and a fresh beginning, which my hair grows really fast because I'm half Persian, so it's not really that intimidating for me to chop my hair. Like, I swear it's already grown like half an inch. And being pregnant, I feel like your hair grows even faster. So again, just wasn't really anything I was super worried about from the hair side of things. But today we're going to be talking about entering your villain arc, okay? And I'm going to be giving you permission to enter your villain arc. So I feel like, okay, here's the thing, this is what I wrote down, and I have to say how I wrote it down. I normally don't do this, but with this specifically, I feel like I need to read it to you. So I feel like the villain arc is a non-toxic way to kind of view your own self-worth, if you will. I feel like everyone always talks about entering your villain arc as just like a way to like shut people out or not listen to other people, where to me I'm like, no, it's way more than that. It's about focusing on yourself and giving yourself the energy that you deserve. And because honestly, like, who cares what other people think? At least in my mind, I'm like, who cares? The number one thing that matters is how you think about yourself, right? So you're the main character, babe, and you should take that and run with it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I'm really excited. Also, this t-shirt or this like sweater is actually, if you're not watching either live or the video format, I'm wearing like a 9-bing, I think that's how you say it, crew neck. And because my belly has gotten so big, like sweatshirts, I honestly normally like to like tuck my sweatshirts up so my belly's like out because it's way more comfortable. And I didn't do that, and I'm wishing I would have. Okay, so now let's chat about how to channel your villain arc in your everyday life, okay? And again, we're focusing on you. We're not focusing on like, we'll focus a little bit on how it affects how you act and stuff with other people, but for the most part, this is about you. So I really feel like having true self-worth and boundaries for yourself is really what, to me, entering your villain arc means, if you will. So I feel like the first thing is your body language, just how you carry yourself in everyday life. You guys, I'm so out of breath. I'm so out of breath. I feel like pregnancy is so humbling in that way because the baby puts so much like pressure on your lungs and you're just like constantly trying to catch your breath. And it's humbling. Okay. It's very humbling. This little guy, I'm like, you're like 3 pounds, and yet everything else that goes with that it's just like pushes on your lungs. Like I feel like for me, if I'm ever having a day where I'm just like, I'm not feeling like that bitch, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I got to put my shoulders back. I got to sit up straight. And literally, I swear doing those 2 things changes your entire state and puts you into like a state of offense versus being in defense mode going throughout your day. And it makes a big difference. I really do believe that. Also, that just reminded me of, I love football. Okay, I love the NFL, but I specifically love college football. And I started watching this new show, Chad Powers. I've already watched every episode. I watched them all in one night. Colby and I watched them all together in one night. We were like, wait, this show is so good. I loved it. Glenn Powell does such a good job. It's a good show if you need a good show to watch. Okay, and then I would say that the second thing on how to channel in your everyday life, your villain arc, if you will, is your confidence. Confidence is very interesting because I feel like confidence comes in a lot of different ways. But it of course comes from your inner narrative with yourself, and then it reflects out into the world and can even like project onto other people, whether it be for good or for bad. And for me personally, I feel like confidence really like at least one pillar core of confidence comes from knowing who you are. And for me, I believe that every single human being on earth is a child of God and has their own like personal purpose and something that only they can fulfill. I genuinely believe that. And I believe it for myself. And then with that, there's like a lot of like other things that come with it. So, it could be, that's like the core, but then there's a lot of very specific nitty gritty things that we're all individually very good at or have like gifts, if you will. Okay. The third thing really to, again, channel your villain arc in your everyday life is to have routines. I feel like this is something that people talk a lot about, but there really is so much strength and purpose that comes from having routines. And it's really essential for setting yourself up for success when you think about it, because all humans, we're kind of all the same, and we all are basically functioning off of a program in our brain, right? Which is basically just habits that we have. So creating, a movement routine for yourself, like working out or going for walks, stuff like that, that puts you in a good state. Oh my gosh, my baby is kicking me so much right now. He's like been going nuts the past 2 days, kicking me way more than normal. And it's very distracting to just like have a literal human in you, just like kick all sorts of parts of your body. It's really crazy. Anyways, okay, yeah. So creating a movement or a workout routine that you like, you enjoy it. That is the key, because if you enjoy something, you're more likely to stick to it. For me personally, I really love weightlifting and Pilates. I think for me, weightlifting has brought me so much confidence, and I love it. And it's also just cool to like see your muscles grow. I know it sounds so crazy, or just cliche, I guess, but it really is like one of the coolest things, especially as a girl, because it's so hard to build muscle as a woman. Which, speaking of working out, weightlifting when you're pregnant, I've never felt like such a badass in my life because when I tell you I'm humbled every time, I'm like, how is it that we just like, it feels so nonchalant when it's really not like at all. It's not casual at all. Just growing a literal human. But But yeah, and also don't be afraid to try new things in your routine as well. I remember when I first like started doing Pilates, I was like kind of iffy about it. And then I was like, wait, no, I actually love this. And now that working out or weightlifting, Pilates, and going on walks are like three of my favorite things. And if I ever am in a mode where I'm like not feeling myself, either just mentally, usually, I mean, everything's mental, I swear, I will do one of those three things and I instantly feel so much better. And then, of course, I'll take a shower after, and it just makes everything better. Okay. So, I guess this is the one part where we will kind of talk about other people and how other people can kind of not like affect us, but we're just going to romanticize being unavailable. Okay. I think there is something so powerful in not being available for everything. And for one reason, I think that when you can go to anything and be everywhere, you're essentially saying yes to those things, but you're saying no to a lot of things that would in turn serve you personally. Like if you're saying yes to every social event, where are you going to have the time to focus on whatever you're passionate about? And that could literally mean anything. So I'll be very vague and leave it at that for whatever that means to you personally. But I just think there is so much that comes with saying no because you are saying yes to so many other things. I'll give you an example in my own personal life. My husband and I decided that on Sunday evenings, this is a rule we made like years ago. And unless it's Mother's Day or I guess Father's Day, I think those are the only holidays that are like really on a Sunday. Unless like another holiday falls on a Sunday like Christmas. We are always at home. We don't do anything with family. We've told both sides of our family we like to be at home because we like to get in the mode and in a routine to start the week off right. I don't want to go to bed late. I don't want to be away from my dogs. Like I want to be home in my routine and I want to have the rest of the day, like after church and that evening, to just focus on myself. And some people, like obviously most people will be cool about it and understand it, but then there's some people who just don't get it. And the thing is it's not on you to help people understand when you have certain boundaries with things or you have a certain preference of like how things go in your life. It is not on you to make those other people either feel comfortable or to understand you. That's like kind of just, it just is what it is. And if they're mad or whatever, like who cares? That's at least how I feel. Because with stuff like that, I'm just like, it's so silly. It's so silly. And if something is important to you and someone cares about you, then they'll respect it. That's at least how I feel. And you want to make sure to always give that energy out to people and not hold people to a unrealistic standard, which I think sometimes can occur when like in family dynamics, friendship dynamics, partnerships, all that kind of stuff. So, but we just want to protect our peace. I think that, I think protecting your peace is incredibly important. Like, don't be around people who are losers, okay? Here's the thing, is certain people have either have a winning abundance mindset or they have a lack, and there's no other way to put it, but like a loser mindset. And that's not like if someone's going through a hard time and they're like, oh, I need a friend. Not talking about that. That is completely different. And obviously that's just a part of life that we will all inevitably go through probably multiple times in our life. But what I'm talking about is surrounding yourself with people who, when they are going through hard things, are still having that abundance mindset where it's not like sucking out your energy. Because sometimes you can be around people and it just almost feels like that state, like something hard happens and then that state that they were living in, it just like never goes away. And then they're constantly complaining or viewing their life from a place of lack rather than abundance. And that's just really toxic to be around. So I think it's really important to be very cautious about those people. And especially because I feel like a lot of times it can be family, it can be close friends, and just being very selective with who you spend your time with is incredibly important. And you don't need to apologize for that. And you could say that's like being a villain, but I think it's important to, of course, like mourn with people who are mourning, but also understanding that you have to protect yourself and your energy to continue to become a better version of yourself personally. And then hopefully other people will follow. But if not, it's just kind of what it is. But yeah, be very cautious of people who are kind of energy takers and not energy givers, because I've, at least for myself, I've found myself sometimes attracting those people, and I've had to like catch myself and be like, wait, I actually don't want people like this in my life. I want people who, yeah, give energy, or at least it's like a give and take, type of relationship. So that kind of brings me to my next point of choosing your circle. You have way more power than you think that you do to choose who you want to be around. And it's just literally making a decision of who you get to spend your precious time with. Because I feel like that's the most precious thing that we all have is our time. And this also includes the content that you're consuming, because if you're consuming a bunch of really negative content, that's not going to do anything good for you. That's only literally going to bring negativity into your life. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that. They always talk about like the physical aspect, when like half of us are on our phones, probably either just as much as we're with other people, if not more. So it's incredibly important to be conscious of the content that you're consuming. And my goodness, this baby is really giving me a run for my money. I'm always out of breath. Again, channel that villain side, okay, of yourself for yourself. We're doing it for you. We're not doing it for other people. You are channeling your villain arc for yourself to become a better, hotter, more confident, more personable version of yourself. Just overall better version of yourself. And also, one last thing to say about like friends is I feel like you get better at this as you get older, but it is so much better to have like, let's say 3 or 1 really good friend rather than like 20 so-so friends. And also for me with friendships, I have very low expectations in a lot of ways and then high expectations in other ways. So for example, since being pregnant, if like someone says they're going to show up to something that's like for me and baby, and they just decide to not show up for it, I'm like, okay, personally, I don't really want people like that in my life. Obviously things happen, but like there's just been some scenarios I've been in and I don't want that energy. So I'm like, I'm good. And again, no hard feelings. You don't have to say anything to people, but you just distance yourself and move on. And I genuinely see everything, like things like that happen to me. I always see them as my benefit, or I'm just like, cool. Like I genuinely never think of things happening to me. I think of things happening for me. And I think once you can make that shift in your life will quite literally start to change, because you will change. And the way that you think about everything will also change. Okay, so I wrote this down because I feel like this is a good way to think of it. There's basically 2 sides of the coin. There's the lucky girl syndrome, which is basically having faith in abundance and just having that side, that, type of mindset. And there's the other side of the coin, which is your villain arc. Okay. And this is your boundaries and your self-respect. And again, to me, these boundaries are things that start with you, because if you don't respect yourself and you don't have boundaries for yourself, how are you ever going to have them for other people or other scenarios that you're in, or like work, or, things like that. So that's kind of the gist, if you will, of the two sides of the coin, okay? And then I want to dive in a little bit to talk about lucky girl syndrome specifically, because I think lucky girl syndrome is so fun to talk about, and I think I want to do a full episode on this, because I do believe in luck, but I don't believe that it just comes. I believe that it comes with a lot of faith, hard work, and dedication, and like a mindset of abundance. And you'll probably notice that with people who you perceive to be lucky, they put themselves in the position to even get lucky in the first place, right? So if you are someone who's like, I really want to suffer from lucky girl syndrome, then let me help you. I'm going to give you a few tips to what I think attracts lucky girl syndrome. For me, what I've used in my personal life and what I've seen other people use. Okay, after I take like three deep breaths. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is give energy to what fuels you. So think about things in your life, maybe even like things that you enjoyed as a child, that genuinely fuel you and give you energy. Even if they take energy, things that give you energy in return. So think about that. And once you have that thing, if you can't think about it, then maybe just pause, keep thinking about it, ponder a little bit about it, pray a little bit about it. But here's the thing is, I feel like most people are not lucky enough to find that passion of theirs in life. And that's for one reason. It's not because they're not gifted. It's not because they don't have that one thing, but it's because they don't ever put themselves in any situation to ever get lucky. And they're not even spending the time to like discover things about themselves. So yeah, I just think that the word luck is very important, and it's honestly, it's easy to attract good luck if you're putting in the work. And I kind of like to think about this in the sense of like, faith without works is completely dead. And I feel the same way with luck. And I would say that luck and faith are kind of sisters, They're kind of twins, and they're probably more like sisters, not twins. But yeah, so I just think that luck comes from trying out new things, and it doesn't just happen. So if you take anything from this episode, that's also a really good little nugget. But yeah, luck comes from trying new things. So put yourself in positions to get lucky. Okay. I really loved this episode. I loved filming it. I thought it was a very fun topic. And I think that this time of the year, kind of like, I feel like September to December, which I think, does quarter 4 start in October or December? I can't remember. Or I mean, September or October. I can't remember. But I feel like the last half of the year is just so special, because you're gearing up for, a new year. We're all getting ready for 2026, and it's the holidays, and it's just like, there's so much fun and good that's going around. And I think it's such a good time. You don't need to wait for 2026 or like the new year to start improving yourself and becoming a better version of yourself. So I think it's just a really fun, good idea to start that now, if you will. And yeah, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts on this episode. Actually, if anybody has any thoughts in the chat on this episode, let me know. Because I would obviously love to hear what you think. Yeah, my family's good. Family's very good. Thanks for asking. I'm obviously pregnant, which is very fun. And yeah, I'm excited to, you know, experience the rest of my third trimester being pregnant. I can't believe I've already been pregnant for over 7 months. I'm like, haha, that's crazy. When you put it that way, it's like, so basically I've been pregnant this entire year, which is just, yeah, it's fun. It's crazy, but it's all exciting stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. If you enjoyed it, make sure to join the Trophy Life Club. It's a free community for the girls by yours truly, and it's on Instagram. It's just at Trophy Life Club. You can also follow me at Tara Kelly Smith on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you have an extra minute, I would also love and super appreciate if you would review the podcast. This will just help us reach more women who could use a little TLC, aka Trophy Life Club, in their life. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.